Yud Beis Sivan, the last day of the Yemei Tashlumim, like we have this time as well. Today is Yud Beis Sivan, the last day of the days where we are, as the Rebbe says, not just we make up, but we complete and perfect and elevate all the days prior, including and especially Matan Torah. So the Rebbe says it's the beginning of the Farbrengen was a Thursday night on Yud Beis Sivan. The Rebbe says, no, it's customary already many years, to make a Farbrengen in connection with the conclusion of the Yemei Tashlumim of the time of Matan Torah, which Yemei Tashlumim means literally there was too many korbanos to be brought in one day in Eretz Yisrael, those that were Oila Regel, that everyone brought 2 korbanos. So therefore they had up till the 12th of Sivan when you could still bring the korbanos. When you're talking about Sukkot and Pesach, there are 7-8 days where you could bring the korbanos. But on Shavuos, there's only one day, so all the korbanos that the people brought were brought until the 12th of Sivan. And because of that, it's called Yemei Tashlumim. So he says, he says in the second line, one of the reasons that we have the custom has become to make a Farbrengen at the conclusion of the Yemei Tashlumim, to emphasize the idea of unity in association and connection with the time of the giving of the Torah, as the giving of the Torah itself has to do with unity. Man Torah kashrim is kansusam vis asfusam shokam Yisrael. Man Torah is connected with the gathering and collecting and joining of many Yidden ad l'chol Yisrael mamish, until all Jews in actuality. Ad kedei kach, to such a degree is the gathering of Jews so primary in the Matan Torah. She'inyan zeh mahavet tnai ikri b'Matan Torah. The collection of Yidden together is a primary and major condition in the giving of the Torah. Like it's brought down the Medrash, if the Yidden would have been missing even one person, without any difference, who is the one that's missing? It could be the greatest to the most minor, doesn't make a difference. The Shechina would not have revealed themselves upon the Yidden by Matan Torah. It says on the third day of the 3 days of Hagbalah, Hashem descended to the eyes of the entire nation, emphasizing the entire nation not to be there. That the giving of Torah could only take place in a state and situation where all Yidden were in the presence of all the Yidden together. Not only the actual giving of the Torah, in addition to this, even the days of preparation for Matan Torah, beginning from the first day of the month of Sivan, his kansusam visasfusam shekol Yisrael, to already emphasize the collection, the gathering of all the Yidden. Like it says, in the 3rd month of the Yidden going out of Mitzrayim, meaning the month of Sivan, in this day referring to the first day of the month, Rish Chodesh, and Yisrael encamped over there facing the mountain. And Vayichan, we know it's that, as the Rebbe is going to mention soon, was said in the singular to show on their unity. The very fact that they came and they stood facing the mountain. It says Hahar, the mountain, with a definitive article. It's the known mountain. All of Nitna Torah, that upon it the Torah was given. Skip the brackets 2 lines down. Torah Achas, which the Torah is a Torah that is a one Torah. So this is Palashis Achdu Kulam Yachtav. This affected that the Yidden should all become joined and united together until they became entirely like one person with one heart. So we see the connection of Matan Torah with unity, that just being in the presence of the mountain, that already brought about by the Yidden a unity. Skip the parentheses. So Matan Torah Gufa Lachs Kam V'Kam. If this is said in the days of preparation to Matan Torah that they were united because of the Torah, how much more so in the actual giving of the Torah they were completely united. The Rebbe explains what Pashta simply put, Ha'achdas Shebet Torah, Torah Achas, the unity and the oneness of the Torah, it's called one Torah. Paul is in Achdas B'Yisrael, Afilu Lifnei Kabbalas HaTorah. It affected the idea of unity amongst the Eden even prior to the receiving of the Torah. Mitzad Achana Bilvad, only and just because of their preparation, it already affected in them that they were united. Valachas kam base Matan Torah, how much more so during the giving of the Torah. Then there was the additional quality that the Yidden were then commanded to do, to have Avos Yisrael and to do the mitzvahs, which is obviously a greater level that the Gemara explains than someone that's not commanded and does. And along with the fact that we actually had the empowerment, that the giving of the Torah empowered us to be able to come to a state of unity than prior to the giving of the Torah. Not only that, through the giving of the Torah, Yidden arise to be a mashpia into the Torah, that the Yidden are adding to the Torah. Skip the parentheses to the next line. Like it expresses itself also in the simple idea of Torah study, la fashalah, that the purpose of Torah is to expand in it. We have to add to the Torah. Talmid Vasik Asad L'Chadish, a diligent student, is going to come up with new insights in the future. So we are actually being mashpia to the Torah. We are adding to the Torah. We are causing the Torah to grow. So how much more so is there the unity involved because of all of that happened as a result of the giving of the Torah? So not only in the days leading up to the giving of the Torah, and not only in even more so when we receive the Torah, there is the idea of the unity. So it goes in the last two lines of this page. So too, it's in the days of Tashlumim, the make-up days, or the fulfillment days of the time of the giving of the Torah, because their association with the time of the giving of the Torah, therefore we were given the capability, and we can make up all those matters that were not done perfectly and completely during the time of the giving of the Torah. So Mudgish Gam Bahem Inyan Achdas is also emphasized in them the idea of unity and oneness. And therefore, the Rebbe says it's appropriate to make a Farbrengen, a gathering that expresses that. Davar Abol de Bitu, something that comes to expression. Kasher Kama V'Kam Yisrael Misasrim Yachta B'lis Fathers, when many Yidden gather together for Farbrengen. Now the Rebbe is going to add a deeper meaning in the word Tashlumim. In the simple sense, Tashlumim is makeup. You're making up, like for the Karbonis you couldn't bring, you have to make up the rest of the days. But the Rebbe is going to take it a step further. Tashlumim is also from the word shleimus, perfection, completion. That's really bringing a perfection, a more perfect state. Yesh lahoisev bad goshes in his mama in Yanis mama and Teresenu koil in yana achtas and me'at tashlum. We could add in emphasizing the idea of the matters and the emphasis of those matters of the time of the giving of the Torah, including also the idea of unity, the way it is in the days of Tashlumim. Hapirush the Tashlumim hu, the meaning of Tashlumim hu loyrak meloshen hashlama sachisar. It doesn't just mean making up for something that is deficient, that's lacking. Hainu, which would mean in the chance that in the event that a Jew missed out something at the time of the giving of the Torah, and Hashem gives him additional days, that a Yid could then complete what is lacking. Rather, on a deeper level, also from the expression of perfection. Not only are you making it up in a perfect manner, it's not just that the perfect way would have been done if it would have been on Shavuos. And now it's just, you're only making it up. No, you're making it up in a perfect state. Not only are you making it up in a perfect state, even on an occasion where the person did not miss anything out whatsoever. The person has the capability to add a greater perfection in all matters at the times of the giving of the Torah. The Rebbe adds, in addition to this, concerning the offering of the sacrifices in the time when the Beis Hamikdash stood, which is the original. For this was originally established the days of Tashlumim. So that's the purpose of the days of Tashlumim. Now let's look at it the way it was then. If, let's say, the carbon that the person brought was actually brought on the day, was actually offered up on a day of Shavuos. So then the idea of making up doesn't apply by him. Even when if it is necessary for him to make it up, because for whatever reason he did not actually offer it in the actual Yom Tov itself. So then, if he brought it on the day of the slaughtering, in the day of Yisrochag, there's different days, the day immediately after Yom Tov, where he could have brought the carbon. Doesn't have to wait till day 12 of the month. So then, whenever he brought it, his tashlumim is over. His making up is over. So that is only when we're talking about the karbonos. If you brought it on the exact day, then there is no tashlumim. Even if you brought it in day number 7 or 8 of the month or whatever, so then the rest of the days, there is no tashlumim for you. That is only in regards to the carbon butt. Omnam, but, he says, in the 5th paragraph from the top of the page, yet, concerning the other matters of the time of the giving of the Torah, in Yonim, Sheinim, Kshurim, Makravas, Akrabanos, the Beis HaMikdash matters are not connected with offering the sacrifice in the Beis HaMikdash, since they also exist outside of the Beis HaMikdash, they even exist after the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, and they're even to be found outside of Eretz Yisrael. Even if he is sure that the way he did his service in the time of the giving of the Torah was as it's supposed to be, not only did he not miss out on anything, additionally, he's sure that he did the most perfect avodah on the day of the giving of the Torah. He still has the idea of the days of perfection. He doesn't only get one day to bring it up to perfection. He has till the 12th of Sivan. Like the ruling of the Alter Rebbe in his Siddur, that the Siddur the Rebbe emphasizes is something that's equal to all. If all you're shaykh to is to read the Siddur, then what the Alter Rebbe writes in the Siddur is applicable to you. Even to the greatest of the great, meaning even someone that did his perfect avodah on the day of Shavuos, one does not recite supplication prayers from the first day of Sivan until the 12th day of Sivan, including the 12th day of Sivan, the Hainu Hey Yom Machar Chag HaShavuos, 5 days post Shavuos. Ki Achag Yesh Lo Tashlum Kol Shiva, because the Yom Tov has completion the entire week from including also Shavuos. So therefore, because it has, you can complete it. So even someone that had a perfect Yom Tov, he doesn't say Tachron also. This means though in the Yom Tov Shavuos itself he didn't say Tachnon. V'Yispal, call it Tfilas Yichadus L'Chag Shavuos, and he davened all the unique tefillas that has to do with Shavuos, all the Yom Tov davening and so on. So even someone that did everything correctly, he still has the idea of an additional perfection. Not only one day, like the custom in many communities is actually the Tachna is not recited until the 8th of Sivan. Meaning, Beis Hayom the Chag Shavuos, one does not recite Tachna on the 2 days of Shavuos, Ve'Isru Chag, and they don't recite Tachna on Isru Chag. But after that, they will recite Tachna. But rather, Ki'im, Ka'minik Shnispashut B'Roiv Mekayim Minig Yisrael Toiri, like the custom that was spread in the majority of places, the custom of Yidden is a Torah already. One does not recite Tachnun for 5 days after Shavuos until the 12th of Sivan, and including the 12th of Sivan. Let's skip over to the brackets to the second paragraph on the next page. Kolza, move on from all this understood. Geulah ilush and the great quality and advantage that's added and increased in the days of completion. Concerning all matters of service of the time of the giving of Torah. That are not connected with offering the sacrifices. After completing the service and having a perfect avodah in the time of the giving of the Torah itself, it's added even a greater perfection. One rises in holiness. For 5 days after the Yom Tov Shavuos, until the 12th of Sivan, and including the 12th of Sivan. He says, in Gimel, Alpiza, moving according to this understood, Yud Bei Sivan, who has man amas in the 12th of Sivan, is the appropriate time. It's a time that was established for this from the beginning of when time was created. What does that mean? It was established in the beginning of when time was created. Hashem already established and made that everything should come in its correct time. So Hashem already at the beginning of creation, when he made time, already established that this period of time will be for this purpose. That means that Hashem already established that these days it's for the completion and perfection of the matters of the time and the giving of the Torah in the ultimate perfection. Since by Matan Torah was emphasized the idea of unity, like we spoke at the beginning of the Farbrengen at length. Similarly, it's not just 3,300 years ago that was the time of unity. It's in the time of the giving of the Torah every single year. Then it repeats itself, the matters of Matan Torah, the way it was the first time around. Like it says, these days are remembered and they are done, meaning that by remembering them, they are being redone again and again, like the Baal Shem Tov explains. How they move and it's understood. Yud Bei Sivan, the 12th of Sivan, the conclusion of the days of completion. This man Matan Torah saying in B'Shana Zu, the time of the giving of the Torah in this year, was man amasim la'richas ha'isvadus. It's an appropriate time for making a Farbrengen. Jabam is asim kama v'kam Yisrael, that by this Farbrengen many Jews gather together. Ordinarily, the Jews are scattered and spread out in different places. It could also be the reason why they're spread out in different places for reasons having to do with serving Hashem. because there's a need to spread Yiddishkeit and the well springs outward wherever they're found. Sep Zur Yisrael, that the Jews are like a scattered sheep. That you need to encourage them and strengthen them into in all matters of Yiddishkeit, until they reach a state of perfection, that each one of them should be a candle that illuminates, like our Parsha talks about Ba'aloischa. So, in other words, even though Yidden are spread out in different places to do good things, despite that, we make a Farbrengen to gather them together, to collect them from all their good work, to have the great quality of Achdus, and perfect the Achdus and the unity that we began with on Matan Torah and the preparations for Matan Torah. That the Rebbe adds, in addition to this, also the place where the Farbrengen takes place, is in a holy place. It's connected specifically with the time of giving Torah. It's called Bayis Gadol Shemagadim by Torah Magadim by Tefillah, a great house that causes Torah to increase and davening increases, and therefore it has to do with the idea of Matan Torah. Let's skip over to the last paragraph on the page. Since the Farbrengen is taking place in an auspicious time, in an auspicious place, surely we merit the empowerment, Hashem's bracha and the success, the Farbrengen will be a great success, until such a success that will permeate and influence also in the existence of the body and the animal soul, like it's explained, like it's hinted in the expression of the pasuk. If you will go my statutes, then I will give you your reins in its time. But gishmeichem meloshen gashmias, the word gishmeichem, which literally means reins, is related to the word gashmias, physical. Koilu hagashmias the mitzvah shel Yehudi hagufen av shabahamis, including also the physicality of the existence of a Jew. What's his physicality? The body and the animal soul. They should be permeated with Torah mitzvahs. Hainu, this means loy rak b'negel inyan haneshama. Not only will this affect matters of the soul, the spirit will return to Hashem that gave it, for example, in other words, the spirit's connection with Hashem. Is also concerning the body and the animal soul. I will give you I will give. Whoever gives with a good eye. He doesn't give cheaply. If you sell something, you might be very exact, but if you're giving a gift, you're not exact. Here's the connection now with Inyane Geulah, second paragraph on the page. Through our actions and service in general throughout the 6,000 years the world exists, especially when it comes to auspicious and meritorious days like now. But in our case, what are the meritorious days? What are the auspicious days? In the days of perfection and completion of the time of the giving of the Torah. We merit to be Yachat Lisai, that the third month, which is the number 3 is associated with the month of Sivan, since it's the third month of the first, which is Nisan. Yisgala Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, so the third Beis Hamikdash will become revealed le'amt lisai, to a nation that's made of threes, Kainim Levim v'Yisraelim, that are divided into these 3 sections. Asheroi v'achilukim shebeneim hem be'eretz Yisrael bezman shebeis Hamikdash Kaim. The majority of differences between these 3 groups of Kainim versus Levim versus Yisraelim are primarily applicable in Eretz Yisrael in the times when the Beis Hamikdash stood. Like in the davening, it's brought down the expression Koyanim b'avidasam. The Koyanim would do their service in the Beis Hamikdash. Levim b'duchanam. The Levim stood on their platform, singing their songs and playing the musical instruments. Yisrael b'amadam, and the Yisraelim stood over the karbanos as representatives of Klal Yisrael. When the Beis Hamikdash will be built speedily in our days, the way We understand speed. Yes, we get to add, even after the Beis Hamikdash was built. Over there we will perform before you the karbonos of our obligations, like the mitzvahs of your will. And we will do the karbonos in their appropriate times. Even when Mashiach comes, there will still be the perfection of the days of completion till the 12th of Sivan. Davar Barur, it's a clear and obvious thing. When Mashiach comes, all matters will rise and be on a much higher level in regards and comparison to the way they were in the time of Golus. Therefore, since even in the time of exile, there is an advantage in all the 5 days after Yom Tov of Shavuos until the 12th of Sivan. That we say these are the days that bring perfection and elevation to the days of Shavuos. It makes no sense that in the future there'll be somehow a descent in these days in comparison to the advantage that these 5 days had in the time of exile. Surely we must say, even when Mashiach comes, these 5 days from after Yom Tov until the 12th of Sivan will remain the days of perfection and completion of the Yom Tov Shavuos. And even more so, like all matters of what will take place in the future, Begilu Yaiser, it will be even more revealed. How much more so? When it comes to godliness, we say Hashem says, I am Avai, I am unchanged. It's still in all, Hashem is unchanged. There'll still be a major change in regards to what will be perceived, what will be revealed. How much more so in matters beneath and lower than godliness himself. How much more so in matters that occurred during the time of the exile. That the point of it and the content of it is to transform that what is below the way it's in its place, in the limitations of time and place, until the limitations of the exile, which is even a greater limitation than just being the limitations of this world. And all of this, the limitations of the world and the limitations of the Geulah, we have to transform to make it liyas dir lo yisbarach. It should be a home for Hashem. So what is the advantage that's going to be when Mashiach comes, that we're going to say then it's going to become transformed to a home for Hashem? So he says, Kichol ha'iluyim shebe'inyan hadira, like all the advantages that there is when there's a home. Shebam is Geulah atzmusay muhusi shel adar bedira, that in the home becomes revealed the very essence of the one that lives in the home. He's completely free to do whatever he wants. There's no constrictions, no limitations upon a person when he's in his own home. Even a king, that one may not see a king when he is undressed, still and all when he's in his own home. Just the opposite. When he needs to change his clothes to new clothes and greater clothes and more valuable clothes, until so much greater, they're incomparable to what he was wearing before. So then in between, the way how it works is he takes off his clothes and he's undressed. And the corresponding thing in the analogy, in the metaphor, is Galus Asmusa Muhusi Yisbarach, because Hashem now has this world as his home, so Hashem becomes revealed to him in himself, in his whole being, in his whole glory. Asher inyan zen nifla di avodasim shel Yisrael shemosifim koyach begvura shel ma'il. This is all occurs through the avoid of the Yidden, that the Chazal say that Yidden add strength to Hashem's might. Ad la'atzmus u'mohus, and kiviyachol till Hashem's very essence is what they adding strength in. Since we say that Hashem desires the actions of your hands, meaning Hashem desires our avodah moving, it's understood. That us fulfilling Hashem's desire, it affects a great delight by the one who gave the Torah and commanded the mitzvahs. The delight and the enjoyment of the Creator, like it's explained in the Amorim of the Rebbe Marash. Skip the parentheses to the next, skip the next paragraph to Oishei. And to speed this all up, we have to increase, like we said before, in our actions and our service. Because through one action or one speech or one thought, he could tilt the scales for himself and the entire world entirely to the side of merit, and then he causes both for himself and to the entire world the salvation, like the ruling of the Rambam. And this is included also, what are we supposed to add? We're supposed to add in Farbrengen. Like it's known, the saying of the Alter Rebbe, skip the parentheses, that like a note descended from the heavens of heavens, about the great pleasure that is above through a Farbrengen. It doesn't mean literally a note came from heaven, but it means it's something that he was revealed from heaven. How much more so Farbrengen is connected with the time of the giving of the Torah. That in the giving of the Torah itself is emphasized the idea of Hashem's delight in the ultimate way, because we're saying Yom Chasunoso is a Matan Torah, that the day of his wedding, that's going on Matan Torah. And it's also referring to Yom Kippurim Shnitnu by Luchsach Roinis, referring to Yom Kippur, that was when the final tablets were given. Along with this, since when Moshiach comes, will become negated all the untoward things that were connected with the whole tumult that was in the first luchos. It says, because the first luchos were given with a great tumult, so there was possible to be Ayin Hara, etc., etc. So since all negative possibilities will be removed when Mashiach comes, so then we will be able to have everything with a big tumult in a positive way. Ad l'shleimus in the nesuim, until the ultimate level of marriage. Kedisa medrash, like it's brought down the medrash, Shalom Haza Eidusin Hayav L'Maisa Mashiach Yu Nesuyin, that this time until Mashiach comes, what took place for Matan Torah was only the first part of the marriage, the giving of the ring. When Mashiach comes, will be the finalization of the marriage, called the Nesuyin, the Chuppah, the Yichud Room, and so on. Like we said before, all this is dependent upon our actions and our service. Like the well-known metaphor, it's similar to the key that each one of us is given, that through that we can open the treasure chest. And when we have the key, we can open it up and reveal all the treasures that are in the chest, including also the treasures of the king, like it's explained in the Mamorim of the Friedrich Rebbe, the Basel Gani Mamorim, even the precious wealth that was gathered and collected many years, generation after generation, through his forefathers that were kings, that was never used for any purpose. It's concealed and hidden and sealed off from the eyes of anyone to see it. Not only does he reveal it and see it, Hashem gives it all away to each and every one of the soldiers, Sivas Havaya, the army of Hashem, every single Yid, from the minor to the most great, Anoshim, Noshim V'taf, men, women, and children. Like it says, concerning the days when you went out of the land of Mitzrayim, that all the hosts of Hashem went out of the land of Mitzrayim, without exception. Hashem took out the Bnei Yisrael from the land of Mitzrayim upon their hosts. Including also the idea that it says upon Tzivoisam, meaning even higher than the level. That's the Hashem's name is Hashem. The name Tzvaka is even higher than that name of Hashem called Tzvaka is Havaya. How can they be higher than that? Because they become entirely one with Hashem's very essence. Because through adding one mitzvah, like we said before, we tilt the entire world to the side of merit, and we bring salvation in the literal sense, the simple halacha, that in the simple halacha was enclosed the highest, most, and deepest, most ideas of the Torah until Hashem's very essence is in the Torah. Va'adrai, be more so, kepiskin koydus moedecham admuna sidreinu v'maimra idua, like the saying of the Frierdiker Rebbe, in his well-known saying, Shapashtus ol mailim nimshechas misbatas v'pashtus ol yudi. The pure, unadulterated purity of Hashem's essence comes down in the purity of a Jew. Hashem bezem moving gamen again the Torah, so too it's understood concerning the Torah. Pashtus the Torah, the simple, pure essence of the Torah. V'gam negel the mitzvahs of kavanosam, also concerning the mitzvahs and their intention. Hakavana pshuta, the simple intention. Haklolis v'iklis, the general intention, the primary intention. That Hashem sanctified us with His mitzvahs and He commanded us. That is the basic intention that a person has when doing a mitzvah. Ubenidin the dam. Getting back to simplicity, it should be the simple halacha that Yidden are simply saved. The halacha the halacha that the Rambam rules, that the person doing something good tilts the scales to the side of merit. He causes a salvation in the simple sense. Show it should be for us amongst a whole Klal Yisrael. That every single one should do everything within his power to complete. Gamalosh and Shleimus, also from the word perfection, Kebeza Perushim Delay, like the two explanations we gave before in Yemei Tashlumim, as Kol and Yone avoided as Man Matan Torah saying of all the matters of our service at the time of the giving of the Torah, Lekrasium V'chaisim Yemei Tashlumim, towards the conclusion of the days of perfection, B'tachsa Shleimus, and the ultimate perfection, B'tach Simcha V'tuv Leivav, out of joy and gladness of heart, to B'kar of Mamish B'agol Dedan, speedily, the way we understand, quickly, Zoichem L'kabel Aidan, Sinem El Maila, Torah Chadosh Mitzvah, we merit to receive through the gift from above, a new Torah comes out from me, Geulah Mitzvah Hashlem, the true and complete redemption, B'nareinu, B'skanenu, V'aneinu, V'naseinu, with our youth and our elderly, and our sons and our daughters, B'eretz Asher Goymer, Tamad Ein Hashem Elokech B'amreish Lashon V'adach Lashon, and the land that Hashem's eyes is constantly in it, from the beginning of the year till the end of the year. And to note that the idea of the eyes of Hashem, your God, in Torah, similar to what it says, that we saw Hashem eye to eye, Kshura and Primis HaTorah is connected with the inner part of the Torah. So just like there's the eyes of Hashem that's in the land, there's the eyes of Hashem that's in the Torah, that's the inner part of the Torah, Torah Chadosh Meiti Teitzi, that's the new Torah that'll come out from you when Moshiach comes. V'dugmasoi be Yisrael, and similarly it says in Yisrael, Kala she'na yafse etzich abdika, a kala that her eyes are beautiful does not need to be checked, meaning Klal Yisrael, they have the eyes of the Pnimis HaTorah, she's perfect, that you're entirely beautiful, my beloved, and there's no blemish in you, Taxa Shlemis B'chol and Yonim, the ultimate perfection in all matters, B'mheid of Yemeinu Mamish, speedily in our days Mamish.